Hey everyone, welcome to the show. I am your host, Karena Calhoun. Super thrilled, super excited about today's episode. I've got on the show today Miss Faith Rivera, and this has been a long coming conversation that I've just really been thrilled about. So, super excited. I want to welcome you all to the show. Want to say hello to everyone around the world. You all know we're in the top 10% globally, and I'm super thrilled about that. I love, love, love the direction that the show is going in, and I couldn't be any prouder of the folks that have been on the show, my team that works tirelessly behind the scenes. So super thrilled. Miss Faith, how are you doing today?
I am doing awesome this morning. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Awesome. I love it. I love it. I love your smile. You're just so bubbly. You're just like, hey, I'm here. I'm here. I'm loving on the world. And so I would love to know, Faith, where in the world are you? I see a sign behind you, but I don't want to assume. Where in the world are you?
I am actually in Columbus, Ohio, but I have to
Okay.
rep my Texas folks back there. I recently, about a year ago, moved from Fort Worth, Texas to Columbus, Ohio. So now Columbus is our home.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. I love it. So what took you to Ohio?
Yes. My husband graduated from TCU, the
Okay.
medical school there, a little over a year ago. So in May of 2023, and we were thrilled to find out that he was able to receive a spot in the emergency medicine residency program at you can't forget the in there, Ohio State University EM program.
Awesome. Well, congratulations to
Thank
you all. That
you.
is amazing. So I would love to know, Faith, how are you loving on the world around you? I have a sneaking suspicion that it is so incredibly amazing. I can just feel it coming from you. So I know it's amazing. How are you loving on the world around you?
I love that you started off with that question. I think I have always seen myself as someone who is a capacity builder for change, whether that is in my personal life or in my professional life. And I love just loving all the world around me, whether it's my friends, being a positive source in their life of energy, of motivation, of sharing stories, or through the work that I do with my clients, helping them to make the change that they want to see so that they can have the life, the business, the family that they want to have. I love hearing people's stories. I love being able to cheer them on. And really, at the end of the day, I hope that every time I'm in someone's space, whether it's personally or professionally, that they leave the conversation, they leave the experience better off than when they came together.
I love that. And, the thing about that, Faith, is you really do have to have a great, I would say, balance between tenderness and strength,
Yes.
because you've got to be tender enough to say, listen, change is needed, and
Yeah.
this is how you're going to do it. But then that strength to say, okay, I know you don't want to do it, but this is how
Exactly.
we're going to do it. So talk
Exactly.
about that, because I know I have encountered people who don't like change and run from it. But then me, myself, I love change. Doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to, I guess you would say, see it immediately.
Mhm.
But I recognize that with change, it's typically a really good thing. And so when I do see it, I tend to run to it. So give us your perspective on that.
There's a saying that says change is the only constant in life, right? Every day there's something new and something different. Our even routines aren't always the same each and every day. And really, whether you're looking at personal or professional change, if you stay where you're at, nothing's going to change, right? Like if you do the
Oh,
same things over and over and over and expect different results, that's literally the definition of insanity.
yeah.
Expecting different
Yeah.
results from doing the same thing is crazy, literally crazy. And so having that balance, having that mix of tenderness with kind of the toughness, like you mentioned, is really important, whether you're wanting to support someone in your personal life or professional life, because you need to have that empathy to
Mm,
understand what they're going through or try to put yourself in their shoes, so to say, but then bring in what you've heard them say or know about them to say, okay, friend, we've talked about you want to bring change in your personal life, in your
mhm,
health, in your business. But why? Why do you want that change? Why would this be important to you? And helping people drive that change based on their why and help them
mm,
to see that even if it's a little bit uncomfortable right now,
mhm,
it's going to be worth it if you get the results that you want. I always think back to my own personal journey with health this year. It was a really big goal of mine to get back in shape, after, even though the pandemic seems like forever ago, throughout the pandemic, definitely let myself go a little bit. And then the move up to Ohio from Texas, there was a lot on my plate. And at the beginning of this year, when I looked in the mirror, I knew that I could do better. And that change wasn't easy. Changing habits is not always easy. And keeping yourself accountable, whether it's with another person or just having apps or tools to help track your progress, the first time you get back in the gym after being sedentary for a really long time is painful. Your body
mm.
literally aches because of the growth that's happening. But every time you show up for yourself, it gets a little bit easier and it gets a little bit better. And so that same principle is true in our other parts of our lives, in our professional life, in our health, that the first time you show up, it's going to be a little bit painful. But the more that you continue to show up, the easier it's going to be. And honestly, I think the little bit more enjoyable becomes, like you mentioned, that you run to change. I love that thought that sometimes we're prone to run away from change because it's different. It's not what we're used to. But how often have we experienced change and then look back 6 months from now and say, I'm glad that I did it? And more often than not, we're glad for the changes that we make if it's in a positive direction.
Yeah, and it really makes me think, just what you said, just something that you said. I've never been able to put it into words, but I thank you for that language that even with a little change or small changes,
Hmm.
there can be pain in that growth. And
Yeah.
that's really why I've run towards change. And I actually
Hmm.
have had this very conversation with people who are significant in my life, because I have told them, listen, there has to be change in certain
Yeah.
situations or in our lives, or and I've just been able to now listen, let me put my hand up. I am not a change agent in that regard. Faith is your expert in this. But I'm just saying that for me, I know I pay attention to that with individuals that I get close with. And so when I see them bucking against change, I tend to call it out. And that's one
Yeah.
thing that we talk about a lot. And so I love that we're having this conversation because it helps me to help other people
Yeah.
just on a personal level. Again, Faith is your expert. But just to know, to be able to say that there is going to be some pain in that growth, in that change, is so vital. That is so good. I love that you have given us that. So, for those that are listening, change does not necessarily mean you're not going to experience some type of pain, because when you
Yeah.
think about it, when we were young and we would say, oh, my body is hurting, as kids, and then the adults would say, you're just growing, you
Yeah.
know those growing pains. We talk about that in relationships. We talk about that in just so many different things. So when you think about change, there's growth, there's pain. I love that, Faith. See, I knew this was going to be a great conversation. So when you are talking to people and you're assessing them and you're saying, okay, change is going to need to happen. What are the conversations that you're having with them? Because I know that some are resistant, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And then some are like, I'll do it. And then there's some that are like, nope, not gonna do it.
Yeah.
don't want to see it, don't want to feel it. So, what are the conversations that you're having with people?
I love this question. Oh my goodness. I love that you asked this. So, first and foremost, it's getting down to the nitty gritty of why the change is needed. So, I will normally ask, what is your life going to be like 6 months, a year, 5 years from now if you do absolutely nothing and just go quiet and just
Yeah.
see like what emotions or what responses come from these individuals, my friends, my clients, my family? Like if nothing changes, what changes? And
Oh my goodness, Faith. That is so good.
and how are you going to feel 6 months, a year, 5 years from now if you're in the exact same place that you are right now? Are you going to be happy with where you're at? And I feel like most of us, if we have any drive or desire to do or be more with our lives, that's kind of a gut punch, right? Like, I know for myself personally, if I don't do anything different than what I'm doing right now, in 6 months from now, I wake up in the same place financially, with my health, with my business, with my marriage, I'm going to personally feel like I left things on the table, that there were people I could have impacted, that there were relationships that could have been built, that there were families or businesses that could have been better off because of the work that I was doing. But then, if I'm not willing to take those steps and to make those changes that are needed, I have to be okay with the fact that I'm telling those people and myself that I'm not worth it. And that's a
Mm,
really, really hard
mm.
thing for a lot of people. And honestly can become very emotional when you're thinking about, and I just got chills saying it,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
if what you're fighting for that change, whether it's your health, your family, your business, your marriage, is it really worth it if you're not willing to make the change?
Wow.
And that's a really hard pill for a lot of people, myself included, to swallow when I get in my own head. And really, it's from a selfish mentality, if we're
Mhm.
thinking about it. If we don't want to experience that little bit of discomfort that may come, that pain, like we've talked about from growing, that's really selfish. If we know that we are put on this earth to help people or to, you know, be a leader within the different realms of our lives that we are in, and we're not willing to do the things that we know we need to do, that's our way of saying that our community, our families, our business, ourselves, that we're not worth it.
Yeah. Wow. What a wake-up call.
Yeah.
I hope oh my goodness. For those of you that are listening, what a wake-up call. What oh my goodness. Lots to think about. And this can absolutely be applied to so many areas of your life.
Yeah.
And I don't even want to say so many areas. I want to say pretty much 99.9%
Yeah.
of the areas in your life. So talk to us about who you're serving specifically because I want people to know, listen, Faith is my person and I am her person. So I want to call them out.
Yeah.
That is important at this point right now. And I've never done that before
Mm.
on this show. But I feel so strongly about this that I really need you to call out your people.
Yeah. The people that I work with and the people that I serve are really those who have influence over others in their lives. And that can be parents, that can be leaders in a business, leaders in their community, leaders within their family, those that have influence over the lives, decisions, growth of other people around them, and know that they have more that they can offer, that they want to make those changes, that they know there's more out there. And I'm someone, as you could tell from this conversation, that I'm willing to love on you. But if you're coming to me saying you want more, I'm also going to keep you accountable. And I'm going to be that person who kind of pokes at you sometimes when you don't want to be poked at, but with all the love in my heart, knowing that people who strive for a change, often it's because they have others that they know are relying on them to make those changes.
Mm, so good. So incredibly good. And I love how you phrase it, those that have Say it again. Those that have influence over others.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those who have influence over others in their lives. And I think sometimes it's really easy as business owners to niche down too much of who we can serve. But I really want to help people build the capacity for the change that they need to see around them, whether it's in their
Oh yeah.
families, their business,
Oh
or
yeah.
their communities.
That's a perfect niche though. Those that have influence over others. That runs the gamut, but
Yeah,
niches down.
yeah,
It's absolutely perfect. And I love, what came to mind when you said that is the fact that those that have influence over others cannot facilitate change unless they're willing to be change.
yeah, exactly. I think sometimes in the business world, there's kind of the catchwords of like leadership development. And I think that that is always needed, but leadership development is really personal growth. We cannot grow as
100%.
leaders if we are, and we can't be powerful, strong, supportive, um, charismatic leaders unless we're willing to do the hard work and look internally to see what do we need to do. I always say that entrepreneurship is such a great example of that, that you cannot be a powerful business leader and make the change you need to in the world unless you're really willing to look inside and say, okay, what things do I need to improve on so that I can help other people?
And I find that over the years, so I've been in business since 2018, and I have found over the years that entrepreneurs don't consider themselves leaders for some reason.
Yeah,
Well, I'm not really a leader. Well, do you run a business? Then you're a leader, even
yeah,
if you have no employees.
correct.
Maybe you have freelancers who contract with you. Maybe you don't. Maybe you're a solopreneur. You're still a leader
Yeah.
because you have influence over others, even as a solopreneur.
Yeah, you
And
have
so,
influence over those clients, over
yeah,
the community
yeah,
that you're in.
I find it just, I am like, so, oh my goodness. Are you an introvert?
I consider myself an ambivert. So
Okay.
I have a lot of situations in which I get very socially overwhelmed, especially in
Mm,
large groups.
mhm.
So I will, go to my corner and talk to a couple of people that I know. But when you get me going on a topic or I have a purpose for my communication, it's hard to get me to stop.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So how do you re-energize? Like, is it from human interaction or is it being alone?
It's both.
Okay,
I think it depends on the person that I'm around or the
okay,
group that I'm around, and the purpose of what I'm doing.
gotcha.
So there are certain conversations, certain interactions that I enjoy being a part of. But afterwards, I always give the example of networking. I love meeting new people. But after a networking event, whether it's in person or virtual, because I'm an empath and I can feel all of the emotions around me, I need to go like isolate in my corner in my bed and no one look at me or talk to me. But if I'm in small group settings or conversations like ours, I'm going to be ready to go bounce off the walls after this conversation. I'm going to be ready to go have a good rest of the day. So I think it really just depends.
Gotcha. And the reason why I'm asking is because, and again, I've never done this before either, but I really want to be able to point out folks who are making, when I say a significant difference in the world. And this is not to diminish anyone before or after you on the show, but this is something that I wholeheartedly believe in because what I know the ramifications of it. I know the impact that change can make.
Yeah.
I know if every single person that you have been destined and designed to reach and impact, you're able to reach them, then I know what can happen in our communities.
Yeah.
And so I was asking, are you an introvert or not? Because I really want to push you out there because I really believe in what you're doing.
Thank you.
Because I've seen things, I've heard things. You're so needed.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh my goodness. So needed. So I'm sure I'll be tapping you on the shoulder in the future for some things
Please.
because this is like, oh my goodness, I'm like giddy. So giddy.
It's a great way to
So
start a Saturday, right?
yes, absolutely. 100%. So, Faith, tell us how we can get in touch with you. If someone is listening and they're saying, you know what, I need that true balance between that gentleness
Yeah.
and that toughness. And, I know me, I know that I am subject to revert back. I'm subject to go in and hide within myself because we're just going to be honest that these are the things that can happen.
Yeah.
And so I need faith in my life. So tell us how to get in touch with you and then tell us what that looks like once we get in touch with you. Is there some type of survey, questionnaire? What happens?
Yeah. So I think there's a couple different ways that you can kind of get in my space. If you want more information on my company, and there's plenty of different ways that you can connect with me on there. It's got information that links to my LinkedIn, my weekly newsletter. It's even got a contact form. It's Alo Civitas, ALOCIVITAS.com. Alo Civitas literally means nourishing communities. So I was very
Oh,
intentional in
wow.
the structuring of the name of my company. You can find me on LinkedIn, send me a message, connect with me, and or like I said, go on the website, and there's a couple different ways on there that you can connect with me via email, via the contact form, via my socials. And once people reach out saying, okay, I want more, I want to be in your space, I do a introductory offer for folks if they want strategic advising in their life, so strategic advising consultation, where really we kind of dive in a little bit deeper based on what our conversation is today, of getting a sense from folks of what they want in their life. And I normally try to have folks kind of focus on one or two areas. We've got, depending on the framework that you look at, there's 7, 8 different areas of our lives that all kind of work together, but it's really, really hard to look at change from an entire system level like that. Like, we can't
Mhm.
tackle 8 different things at once. We really need to focus on one or two. So once folks reach out to me, I'll send back some questions that I want them to fill out, just to really start getting their brains open to what our conversation is going to be like.
Mm.
And then once we find a time to get together, my job is really to dig deeper and to ask questions. I'm not here to tell you what you want from your life or what
Mm.
success looks like. That's not my job. My job is to guide you through and get to the root of the why, like why this area of your life, why the change, why is it important, who's going to be impacted, what's going to happen if you don't. So that's the time that I get to really start understanding who this individual is, what change they're wanting to make, and how I can help them be accountable to themselves and really start creating a actual plan to move forward. Because sometimes I think just within the self-help space as a whole, we get these great ideas, right? We're like, okay, I'm going to change the world, but we don't create a strategic
Mm.
plan of what that change actually looks like with tangible goals and deadlines. And so that's what I do. I use that strategic thinking for us to dive in a little bit deeper and say, okay, say you want to find 10 new clients. Maybe that's your goal. Maybe that's the goal that we're working on together. Let's break it down to the granular level. What are you going to do to make that happen? Who do you need to reach out to? Who do you need to be in the space of? What's that going to mean? How are you going to feel when it's done? And then create our schedule or our routine of how often we want to check in, how I can be of support, what resources and connections I can be, to help these folks to reach their goals.
I love it. Absolutely love it. I feel like I'm at home speaking with you.
Thank you.
There's like a calmness, but yet an assertiveness. And if you're, however you are in life, those are certain things that you appreciate because you understand the necessity of them.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
I appreciate it so much. This has been an amazing conversation,
Thank
and
you.
I really want to thank you for stopping by the show and talking with us, really letting us see inside of how you're impacting the world, how you're loving on the world around you, because this is truly a I would say an impact of love because you have to love in order to do this.
Yeah, definitely.
100%. Yeah. Any last words of wisdom for those that are listening?
First of all, I just want to say thank you again for having me on the show. I have so thoroughly enjoyed our time together. And my one piece of advice to kind of round things out is you are worth the change. You are worth whatever goal it is that you are trying to reach. It's worth it. And I would love to be a support on that journey to get to where you want to go because the change is worth it. The change is possible and you are worth it.
Awesome. I love it. All right, folks, we've had another amazing episode of Go Be Great with Coach Karena. I am Karena Calhoun, your host, your biz strategist for introverts, and super thrilled to have had Faith Rivera on the show today talking about change. If you are someone that has influence over others, be it personal or professional, get in touch with her. Please. Oh my goodness, because we need your impact in the world. And I always say, I'm going to leave it with this. I always say, the change that you make, the impact that you make is like a domino effect in reverse.
Yes.
Every person
Yes.
that you stand up, they stand up, and then they
Yep.
stand up, and then they stand up. So be that domino in reverse, that domino
Yep.
effect in reverse, and keep going. Go be great. So I will see you all on the flip side. Bye for now.
Thank you.